Not to say that we're going to get into the rumor and innuendo business, but there's a lot of talk about what to expect this weekend. And as we get into WrestleMania season, there's Nick Khan doing a podcast denying any knowledge. He wouldn't commit one way or another as to what The Rock would or wouldn't do. Then we saw a report that...
Wait, his picture's not on this?
What's up with that?
Oh, no.
Oh, maybe the Black Adam promotion's over.
I don't know. But anyway, this is
check it out. Old Dwayne doing the best he can, man.
Getting by.
There's another report that says he wouldn't be able to make the schedule work. He wouldn't be able to get into quote unquote wrestling shape in time. Then we saw a report just earlier this week that perhaps Stone Cold had a big money offer to do something at WrestleMania. I think Sean Ross Sapp thought maybe it was him versus Roman Reigns, and I think Dave Meltzer said no, he was actually offered Brock Lesnar. Would you be surprised to see Rock and Austin at WrestleMania?
Well, I'd be very surprised. I'd be really happy. You know, Steve was surprised. I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking about seeing Steve. Maybe that's supposed to be a big surprise. But I think they actually show us on the trailer.
Yes.
You know, and it's beautiful snow-covered landscape. I woke up. I did have a day off in a hotel. I got there with 57 degrees, you know, in the wilds of Nevada where Steve lives, and the next day it was the heaviest snowfall as far as the thickest snowflakes I've ever seen. This was the same day that Jeremy Renner was injured, not far from where I was. So that snow was really coming down, made for a beautiful landscape. But Steve was surprised when I told him if he wasn't surprised, he did a good job of feigning surprise. Yes. When I told him his match was my favorite of the previous Mania. And he was like, why is that, kid? I was like, yeah, well, everyone wanted to see you.
Yes.
You over-delivered.
Yes.
Owens did a remarkable job of putting that thing together. Without one face, he didn't even see Steve, right? I mean, Steve did a video, and it was up to Kevin with some of the greatest verbiage, you know, just incredible. Just describing the landscape of Texas being flat and uninspired.
I love it.
It's beautiful. And so Steve was surprised, but I don't think he should have been, because I think, you know, the feedback was almost universally glowing. But I would be surprised to see both of them. I'll tell you what I think has been missing from the Rumble, because it's all you always want to juggle, you know, the mainstays, the surprises, the up-and-coming talent. I thought last year, unless I'm completely wrong and confusing it with another Rumble, was lacking a little bit because there were none of those surprises.
Yeah, I agree.
And there was none of the NXT talent either. Going back a few years to the first time I saw Rhea Ripley, and even my wife, who's seen just about everything, was like, who is that? Like, she stood out and had star power written all over her. Yes. And, you know, we see that on a weekly basis now. By the way, Dominic has
Oh, my gosh. It's just tremendous.
It's just tremendous.
Yes.
Here's a guy that a year ago I would have said, oh, man, I know he's a nice young man. He's Ray's son, but what are you going to do with the guy?
Yeah.
And now he's a highlight of the show. You know, the teardrops and the hard time he did. It's just a great storyline and a lot of fun to watch. And I'd be remiss, since we're talking about fun to watch, if we didn't mention the trial of Sami Zayn.
Unbelievable.
This guy is the gift that keeps giving.
He's the wrestler of the year the last year. Just storyline wise, you're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head.
And I love the fact, the subtleties. Even if they didn't point out that Paul was just looking at Roman the whole time Roman was looking at the screen, because Paul went out there, Paul Heyman for the uninitiated, Paul went out there and, you know, he firmly in the fire Sammy camp, or revenge on Sammy. And then I love that Jimmy comes up. He comes in as the defense, and it's this remark. It's really good TV, right?
Absolutely.
Really good TV. And now Paul is, like, I think, feeling the vulnerability because he's gone out there and he's been overruled by the tribal chief. Mm-hmm. And you just have it's a great storyline. Sammy is so much fun. He always delivers in the ring, always has.
Yes.
But he's become one of the best characters and has been for, I'd say, a handful of years. So Sami Zayn is your wrestler of the year in WWE?
I think the last year, my match of the year last year was the Cody Rhodes cage match with Seth Rollins, what a story that was.
Yeah, incredible.
With the torn pec.
I thought you were going to go with the Johnny Knoxville.
I think that is the most underrated WrestleMania match last year. Like, I know that it's not going to be compared to Stone Cold
right.
or some of the hard-hitting classics, but that exceeded all of my expectations.
And I think Kevin Owens had the great tweet where he said something to the effect of, every second of that ruled.
Yes.
And
it was fun.
Oh, it was fun. When I talked to you, I don't know if you mentioned this, off air or on air, I was like, wasn't that a great Mania? Not like a Kool-Aid guy, but just like a guy who had watched it for 2 nights and really enjoyed himself. Talking about me in the third person or second person. But you said it was fun. So you weren't with it was great, but it was definitely fun and had some great moments. I think the decision to make it a 2-night, a two-day, it's so good.
Yes.
And I think I've expressed my opinion that it's almost impossible to have that classic match at the end of a 7-hour show. The crowd's just dead, and you need that. I don't care how good the match itself is. You need that intangible, which is the magic element of a hot crowd, or else it's not going to reach that level. It just can't. So I'm really excited about the prospect of one of those guys. I want a couple surprises.
Yeah.
I was really lucky that I was one of those surprises in 2008 and 2012, and I think in 2008 Roddy was in it and Snuka was in it. Like we like those surprises. I think that's been missing. At least last year was missing. So I'm hoping for a great Rumble.